and welcome back to Opal&Mint. I am Ashley and today I'm going to be testing out some inexpensive watercolor paper from Walmart. Now I did just get a comment on a video saying that they want to see more actual doing art videos, and I am down for that. Just let me know what you want to see, what type of art videos you want to see. We are a newer channel and I'm trying to figure out what people want to see, what gets views, what people are actually watching. So we're doing an experiment of different videos. So if there's something you want to see, just let us know in the comments down below and we will definitely get that filmed. But today, my husband, so I have some health issues and I've been housebound. And so my husband went to Walmart for me and I was not expecting him to get this much stuff, but he picked up all this stuff from Walmart. And I'm not gonna put all this in the same video because he got paints and everything, but I did want to test out the 3 brands of watercolor paper that he found at Walmart. I did a video on the Five Below watercolor paper, and honestly, I love using that for practice. So for this video, we have Canson Graduate, which I've used Canson XL quite a bit, but I have not used Canson Graduate. I believe this is even cheaper. I don't know, just because it's 117 pound instead of 300 pound watercolor paper. So it is a lighter weight paper, but we're gonna try it out and see. The next brand, I don't know how you say this brand, but this is a giant. He got 2 sizes. Oh, wow, he got 3 sizes of Canson. So we have a lot of that to test out. But this is Grumbacher. I don't know how you say the brand, but we have this paper as well, and this is 300 GSM, 140. I'm sorry, the other one was not, I said that wrong, 117 instead of 140 pound. Anyways, so this is 140 pound paper, and it has quite a bit of texture to it. Like, it's like a big texture instead of a small. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's, let me see if I can show you. Like, the texture is, we're gonna get to actually painting on it, so you'll see it there. But, and then the third brand, I had heard that Walmart sells bee paper, and I've gotten bee paper from Amazon, so I've used that. And so I told him to see if they had it in store at Walmart because I've heard that. Now they have something from the bee paper company, but it's called Bee Inspired. Now, the bee paper that I've gotten off of Amazon was 100% cotton watercolor paper. This does not say cotton on it at all. So this is cold pressed paper. It is 140 pound, but I don't think this is the same cotton paper that the bee paper was. So I don't think any of this is cotton paper, but this is all inexpensive paper. And we're gonna test it out today and see what we think. So let's dive into putting some paint on these papers. I'm gonna use my Daniel Smith paints just because they are reliable and consistent. And yeah, let's see if these papers are worth getting. So I'm gonna start with the Canson Graduate. So again, this is a 117 pound, 250 GSM. And this is a 9x12. Again, he did get 3 sizes of this, but I am fairly familiar with the Canson XL. So let's see how this compares. It definitely is thinner. It's very smooth on one side and then has texture on this side. Interesting. Okay. So I'm gonna be using, I probably shouldn't, well, okay, we're gonna keep with the affordable theme and put my natural hair brush away. So I'll be using the Fine Touch number 10 round. All right, so I want to do a few tests and do like the exact same tests on all the papers. I don't know what they are yet. I'm just gonna start playing around here. What color? Let's go in with this blue here. And I want to do just a flat wash circle real quick. And then I want to see how it lifts. So it seems to lift okay. Okay. All right, and then I'm gonna take quinacridone rose, and I'm gonna see, I'm being kind of harsh on the paper. I want to see if it'll take a little bit of a beating. But I'm gonna take this and blend these two together. And we'll see how that dries. Oh, I forgot to take the autofocus off. I'm sorry if that was messed up. All right, so we'll see how that dries. I'm gonna get the paper really wet. See how it'll hold up to a lot of water. Do that, and then I'm gonna drop in some color. I just love watching that. It's fascinating to me. And take some of this. I love seeing how different colors explode differently. That green just really took off, didn't it? I think this is Imperial Purple here. Okay. So, and then I'm gonna take some drops of water and just splash it on there. I wanna put a lot of water on there. We'll see how that dries. Okay. All right, let's see. Next, I want to just paint a rose, something that I would normally paint. So let's just see how the paper does with just painting a flower. The colors seem to blend really nicely. It's not the best rose I've ever done, but kind of just quickly moving here. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna put a color down, and then I wanna see if I can completely lift that color. So I'll put quite a bit on, and then I'm gonna take a paper towel and I'm gonna lift. So we'll see side by side how that compares to other papers. I'm going to try to use the exact same colors so they are comparable, but okay. All right, so I'm going to move this aside, let that dry, and I'm going to do another brand. All right, next up is the Grumbacher. This is 30 sheets, watercolor, 8x8, 140 pound. This one has quite a bigger texture on it. So let's do the exact same things. So I'm going to go into the blue, do a nice flat wash circle. And lift. You can really see that texture in this paper. I don't really like it. And it's starting to pill up when I'm lifting, okay? Already I can tell this paper, you see the pilling, I can tell this paper is not as strong as the Canson. All right, let's go into the Quin Rose. And then back into this blue. Blend those two together. Okay. All right, right, next we're going to get quite a bit of water on here. The water seems to soak into this paper a lot more. It sits on top of the Canson a little bit more, and this like soaks into it. Okay, shoot, which green did I use? I think I used this one first. Yeah, that was the green. Look at that. So cool. Okay, get the purple. Isn't that strange how different colors explode differently? I love it. And then I'm gonna take some water and just splash it on there. I did have a dash of this other color, so. Okay, and now it's time for the rose. Taking my red. So for my paper preferences, I am not an Arches watercolor paper fan. It's good paper, but for me, I don't like the amount of texture on it. I prefer the Legion Stonehenge paper, and this is very textured, more so than Arches, I believe. But it's like I don't know what the term would be for it being, there's the amount of texture, or there's like the depth of texture, and like the size of texture. Anyways, the size of the pattern of texture is large. I hope that makes sense. And so like this is textured, but it's like really, really tiny. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Okay, now we're gonna go into this green. And we're gonna do the lifting test. Okay, so we're gonna take, I hope you can see that, like you can really see that texture though. So there is that. Woo. Let me, do you see what I mean by like the texture itself is spread apart more? I don't know. Anyways, all right, so we're gonna just move this aside and let that dry. But so far, notes on this, I don't like the texture, and then it pills up if you lift and scrub too much on the paper. This is the one that I am most anxious to see, and it's huge. It's a jumbo artist pad. This is 50 sheets. Where'd I put my brush? Here you are. All right, so starting off with the circle again. The texture on this one, I'm gonna say, is right in the middle between the other two. It is a larger texture than the Canson, but not quite as big as the Grumbacher. Let's lift. It seems to be lifting nicely, and it's not tearing the paper up, so that's good. Okay, and now it's time for the fade. The blue. All right, so there's the fade. Let's let that dry. And now for the wet. Giant red square here. All right, let's get this green. Oh my gosh, that just is so pretty to me. Wow, it's exploding like even more on this paper. I could have a little bit more water on my brush than the other time, so that could be part of it. Oh, but look how far it's spreading. Let's see if the purple spreads any further than the other two did. I love it how it's just so strange how different pigments move differently. And just a dab of this Van Dyke Brown. Okay, so there's that. Now it's time for the rose. This one's turning into a blob. That's me, not the paper. Okay, that's a horrible rose, but that is what it is. Okay, just leave it alone. Okay, and then the last green. Okay. All right, so there are those 3 tests. I'm going to let those dry and come back and look at them. And then I think what I'm going to do is do the exact same painting on all 3 types of paper so we can further compare and investigate these papers just a little bit more. Okay, so I'm going to do just a simple flower painting, and I'm going to start with the Grumbacher. Keep in mind this is the one that did pill up, and I'm not a huge fan of the texture of, but I'm also going to just be using whatever paints and whatever brushes I would normally use to paint what I'm wanting to paint. But I will use the exact same thing for all the pages. So I'm breaking out my Brown Klinsky Sable number 6 from Rhapsody, and I'm gonna start with my Ocean Paper Bamboo paint palette. Oh, come on. Okay, so we'll probably speed through this process since I'm going to be doing this 3 times, but here we go. Okay, so this is the first layer of the painting. I'm gonna let this dry as I do the other one. I will note that this paper is staying wet fairly long, and these blends just keep bleeding. So it's nice that it does stay wet for a while. So I'm gonna add some more details to this after that's dry, but let's move on to the next paper to start. We're gonna move on to the bee inspired paper, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing. Okay, and oh, the battery's getting low. So that one took a lot less time, probably because I've done it once already. But I will say the paper is drying a little bit faster on the bee than the Grumbacher, because this one is still a little bit wet. And this one I'm just finished painting, and a lot of it is dry already. So something to note on the different drying times. But let's go on to the third paper, and then we'll do the details. All right, this is Canson. Alright, so I have done the first layer of painting on all of them. I'm going to go through, do the details really fast, and then we're going to come back and talk about these 3 different papers. Alright, so here are the 3 paintings side by side. Now obviously I can't do the exact same painting the exact same way, but I did, to the best of my ability, try to make these as similar as possible, but I can tell you my experience in painting with these papers. So starting over here with the Canson Graduate, I did notice the paper does seem to buckle quite a bit. I didn't even use that much water on this particular painting, but even on the test page, the water went through and it even buckled the page underneath it. So I definitely noticed the thinness of the Canson Graduate. Now, there's nothing wrong with using this paper for brush stroke practices and stuff like that, but honestly, I prefer the Five Below paper when it comes to using for practice paper. There's nothing wrong with using this paper, but it's definitely not my top pick. Now let's go to the Grumbacher. This texture can be quite lovely if you like a textured paper. This is a wide, bigger texture, and it actually looks really pretty with these flowers, honestly. Like, I don't mind it. It's a style. You can see, I don't mind it with this particular painting, but I still would not go for this paper in general. It does pill up when you scrub any amount at all. It is nice and thick. It does buckle a little bit, but overall this comes down to the paper not holding up when you are doing different washes and scrubbing and lifting. So for me, that gives it a little bit of a pass. And I personally don't love more textured paper, but I could see how some people would like this, and as an entry level, as a cheaper option of paper, I could see why you would go with this one. I also noticed the differences in color. This one's more brilliant white and this one is more like off-white. Okay, and then moving on to the Be Inspire paper. This feels nice and thick. It has a little bit smoother texture than the Grumbacher, but it seems to hold up really well to whatever I've put it through so far. Honestly, also I have only tested this paper this amount, so these are basically first impressions of these 3 papers. I'm going to continue to use them because I have them, so in a month or so I will be able to tell you a little bit more of a formed opinion, but right now this is just in these tests right now. So I personally liked this paper the best. The texture on it is the most pleasing to me, and it seems to hold up pretty well. Now comparing it to the B paper that is 100% cotton, I obviously don't have it here with me side by side. I've used all of my B paper. But honestly, the one that stayed wet the longest was the Grumbacher. This one did stay wet. Maybe not as long as, although the B paper 100% cotton, I find that it doesn't stay as wet as long as my other cotton papers. So I think this stayed wet reasonably amount of time. I think the one that dried the fastest is definitely the Canson, but it all depends on what you're wanting in your inexpensive paper. If this is just for practice, if this is for actually doing your paintings. I will note the color, the texture, all of that goes into this paper. This is like so white. It looks so strange next to these other 2. But yeah, let's go ahead and look at the little test really quick to wrap this up. But here's the Grumbacher. Again, it pilled up, and I just don't like the way this dried with more water on it. The little dainty flowers I think look great on it, but I don't like the way it dried when you have more water. Here is the Canson, and again, it did buckle a little bit there. It is a thinner paper. I think that it held up pretty well when it comes to lifting. It looks like the texture on this looks like a canvas. Like, it's that texture. It looks like it's trying to be a canvas. I don't know. Nothing on this is just that pleasing to me. And then this, if you look at the color of the blues even, It looks like the bee paper took the blue a little bit more vibrantly than the other two. You can see the saturation in that blue is a lot more on the bee paper. And even in the green looks different on the bee paper. So I am not like super technical when it comes to how paper is made and everything. I just wanted to give you my thoughts on these. Again, this is my first time to use all three of these brands. So if I were just to pick one from Walmart to use, it would be the Bee Inspired. There are 50 pages in here. It is from the Bee Paper Company, and if they do happen to have the 100% cotton bee paper at your Walmart, then I would go for that one. And honestly, I need to look up and see what the difference is in the Bee Inspired Bee Paper Company and the other one. Like, I thought this was going to be 100%. I need to look it up real quick. So this is $11. See, to me, I think if it is cotton paper, it will say it, because that's like a major call out for a brand, you know? On Amazon, you can get a 6x9, so it's a smaller, but 50 sheets of 140 pound, 100% cotton for $20. So this is definitely a lot cheaper. And I'm fairly sure this is not cotton paper, because it doesn't say anywhere on it or on the listing ad, but I would definitely go for this one if you are shopping at Walmart. But that is just my 2 cents in my opinion, if that matters at all. So yeah, I guess that is gonna wrap it up for this video. If you have, like I said in the beginning, if you have any recommendations for future videos, anything you want to see, please let us know in the comments below. But that's it for this one. If you did enjoy this, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already and you wanna see our future videos, hit that subscribe button down below, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye. Let's get a picture. This is a giant.